Banderacon, Captain's Log, the Shadowrun games. Now, this is going to be the start of like a little mini retrospective that I'm doing. I know I've probably started a few that I haven't finished yet, but I intend to knock these out one after another if I can. I think I may have talked about Shadowrun at some point in one of my various ramblings, and I used to play a couple of Shadowrun games at a club that I used to attend every Wednesday. It's Cyberpunk. In fact, there is a Cyberpunk RPG game that's just called Cyberpunk 20 something, maybe Cyberpunk Red, I don't remember. I never played it myself. The point being is, in my opinion, most of the Cyberpunk stuff, for the most part, is indistinguishable from the other. The only difference with Shadowrun is that in the world of Shadowrun, magic is also a thing, and has actually just come back. And a lot of problems have happened since. To give you an idea of the kind of shitstorm that's happened since then. So, at some point in the future, around 2020, whenever the fuck, people start transforming into their mythical subtypes, which is something that they've carried in their genetics when the levels of magic in the world were low, but has recently started to express itself. So suddenly you've got elves, orcs, trolls. So again, imagine a normal person turning into about 11, 12 feet tall and being able to take a car impact standing. There we go. Naturally, because humanity can't let a good shit go, racism is obviously a fantastic thing that does happen. You have literal, they're called metahumans if I remember, but you have metahuman gulags, which is totally a thing. Dragons come back, and dragons are both hideously powerful and wealthy beyond measure. They decide to carve themselves out little territories and fiefdoms, some of them by literally carving out parts of the world for themselves, and the others by just buying out mega corporations. Listen, if you want to go read about the world of Shadowrun, I'd absolutely recommend it, because the world building is absolutely tops. But I'm not going to go into that right now. The first Shadowrun game that came out when I played it on Steam, which I believe was originally kickstarted, I played that 10 plus years ago now, and it had the feeling of a really well-crafted Games Master session with a really nice payoff. You are Shadowrunner, a job went wrong, and you've been contacted by a friend of yours who is dead. And as I remember it, he's asking you to solve the mystery of who killed him, and promises you a fat reward for it. Eventually, through one way or another, and again, this game does have multiple ways of dealing with just about any encounter, which it sounds trite, but I know the fact that, yeah, you're meant to be able to either fumble your way through and get the worst outcome, or apply a skill like, oh, I can hack the door, oh, I can climb in through the vent, oh, I can rip the door clean off the fucking hinges. I get it, and I know it's trite, and it's in any decent game, but it still feels good when you manage to talk your way through like a charisma check, and I, by and large, play charisma characters. I'll come back to that in a minute, actually. So the game leads you through, I would say, a fairly engaging little campaign where you end up dealing with, I forget the name of the church, let's call it the Church of Absolutely Not Scientology, who are notoriously known for not quite being on the level and having a lot of shady shit going on behind closed doors. Basically, turns out they're trying to invite extra planar bug spirits who, if you know Shadowrun, generally a fucking bad idea. It's kind of like having Ant Cthulhu come along and wreck your shit nicely, along with toxic spirits. Basically, they are the precursors to the horrors, and that really is like having Cthulhu straight up turn up at your house. You end up in a battle with that. I remember the final boss and kind of the encounters beforehand not being so great, because there was this forced mechanic where you had to make the enemy go through two separate stages. Like, you had to douse them with some astral parasite grenades and then actually attack them, and it basically invalidated most of your characters because only one of them was holding the grenade launcher. Anyway, the game, I know I just recently touched on Chroma Squad, not too different. It's an action point style, is it isometric? Isometric turn-based XCOM-ish type battler where you can build your characters more or less how you want. If you want to play a cybered up Chrome Ninja, you can do so. If you want to play a martial artist with chi powers, if I remember correctly, the physical adepts, you can do so. You want to play a sorcerer, fine, hacker, drone master, whatever. You can do it. The only slight thing I disagreed with was the fact that I always liked playing charisma characters, and because I played a charisma character, it made me a shaman. So summoning earth elementals and stuff like that. Not really my preferred playstyle. I was going to try and go for something a bit different, but I'll be honest, it didn't really affect my enjoyment. And again, I loved the dialogue. It felt authentic. You do have a chance to have your impact on the world a little bit, and that's nice. But I would say of the 3 games that we've played, and we'll talk about, it's the least. But it's the least of 3 strong brothers, if you know what I mean. I would absolutely recommend it. If anyone who has played Shadowrun, and you will understand, it feels like just an absolutely wonderfully faithful homage to the games, and to any time you sat around a table with a few of your mates and a big bag of chips, and you've done some absolutely outrageous shit on a run, you know what I'm talking about. I probably just kind of rambled myself in circles without really explaining anything, and I apologize for nothing. Go play the fucking game. I reckon you can get it for about £5 now if you really wanted to. And yeah, it's difficult. I'm trying to explain to most people. I know a lot of people haven't actually played Shadowrun. For those not in the know, you can completely ignore the little Counter-Strike mock-up that was called quote-unquote Shadowrun. I don't know why that came about or which person thought that was a good idea. But yeah, no. It's a wonderful game. I remember, I mean, aside from the game itself, I don't remember much about the soundtrack. I believe it was fitting and probably half decent. The writing was good enough. I believe your character definitely felt a lot more like an everyman there than it does in later games. You're definitely playing much less of a character and much more of yourself, which is nice. But I definitely feel that, again, it's not a complaint. It's the least good game of the 3. It's also the first. But it's still good, even though it's the least good. I'm absolutely hashing this right now. I'd say it's something you can pick up and play in... Let me see. Well, actually, no. It took me 15 hours to play this. I remember it going by a lot quicker. Oh well. Yeah, there is a lot to do. There's side quests. You can go around the maps and get stuff. And as I understand it, I also think it has an absolutely obscene modding community. Like, you can get a lot of stuff in this game, custom content. I think you can even make some of your own. And now I'm just remembering it's also called Shadowrun Returns. Anyway, go play it. It's fantastic. And today's call for action is go and either on the internet or somewhere secondhand, pick up some Shadowrun reading material. Not like the novels, that's a bit of a deep end start, but read some of the original core rulebooks. The Shadowrun lore is absolutely wonderful because it goes back to a time when, before like Wi-Fi and like more streamlined internet was a thing, where deckers, who like your kind of version of no, is that? Yeah, deckers were like the version of hackers who could also control drones. They would have to plug into like a physical hardpoint, like an Ethernet cable. And now you actually have it so that they can connect anywhere. It's something that's grown with the world in its own way, and with technology as it's like grown and changed the world. It's interesting. They also were one of the first groups, I think, to really tackle enhanced reality, like enhanced reality headsets. The idea is you'd be looking around and having your vision just flooded with adverts you could only see if you either had that, because some people could obviously have their eyes replaced or have like implants to allow them to see it all the time. I've forgotten the word for it. Altered reality, AR, enhanced reality? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, go read some Shadowrun. Peace.